Have you ever thought about this? If there truly is life in a mirror universe, civilization, intelligence, their own science and philosophy, do they know we exist? If they do know, what would they want to tell us? If they wanted to, how would they do it? They can't make phone calls. They can't send text messages. They can't send light signals. They can't emit any electromagnetic waves that we understand, because there's a wall between them and us. That wall is called electromagnetism. Can they see us? No, because our light can't reach them. Can they hear us? No, because sound requires air, and their air and our air, though in the same space, can never touch. The only thing they can sense is us, through gravity, through the curvature of space-time itself. And the only thing we can sense is them. What does this mean? It means that if there is a dialogue between two universes, it's not an audio recording, not an image, not a video. It was a slow, heavy Morse code written in mass, spanning G, the entire electromagnetic barrier. Today, we will crack this code. In previous videos, we discussed the mirror universe theory, an invisible world that completely overlaps with ours, perceiving each other only through gravity. There are mirror atoms, mirror stars, mirror galaxies, even mirror life. But today, we're not talking about physics. We're talking about war and peace. Because this is a question we'll have to face sooner or later. If a Carl Sagan, or a Napoleon, or an Elon Musk really did exist in the mirror universe, how would they contact us? And how would we respond? Let's start with the basics. Suppose a mirror civilization has been developing for billions of years. They are older and more advanced than us. They have long since discovered gravitational anomalies. In their sky, there are invisible mass distributions exhibiting disturbances that completely contradict the gravitational laws of mirror matter. They would realize these disturbances come from another world. They have discovered us. Now the question is, they want to talk to us. How do they write their first letter? They can't use light. They can't use radio waves. They can't send probes, because wouldn't the probes physically collide with the atoms of our world? No, they won't collide. Mirror matter and ordinary matter can completely pass through each other. But the problem is, we can't see or touch any emitted mirror object. So what do? There's only one answer: gravitational waves. When two massive objects orbit each other, they create ripples in space-time, gravitational waves. These waves are unaffected by electromagnetic barriers and travel from a mirror universe to ours with almost no attenuation. A mirror civilization could have two mirror black holes orbiting at specific frequencies in their space, generating a series of regular gravitational wave signals. For example, short, short, long, long, short. This is binary. This is information. We already have LIGO and LISA. We are listening to all gravitational waves in the universe. If we suddenly receive a completely unnatural, regular signal, and the source points to an absolutely empty void without any visible celestial bodies, we will know that it is not a natural phenomenon. Someone is knocking at the door. What would the first sentence of that letter probably be? Perhaps a prime number. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Because prime numbers are the universal mathematical language, independent of it. Why material form? If they can send gravitational waves of prime number sequences, it means they understand mathematics, they understand logic, and they are trying to establish basic communication. And then they'll send an image. Wait, how do you send an image from gravitational waves? Through the time series of gravitational waves, you can encode two-dimensional information. Imagine a pixelated image. Black represents short pulses, white represents long pulses. Encode this sequence of pixels using the time difference of arrival of the gravitational waves. A basic circle, a square, a simple diagram representing a hydrogen atom. These can all be decoded. If our scientists receive such a signal and can decode a structural diagram of a hydrogen atom from it, what does that mean? It means they know what we are. They know our universe is made up of hydrogen, helium, and small amounts of other elements. They've studied us. They may have been observing us for a long time. This leads us to a more unsettling question. What if the mirror civilization is 1,000,000 times older than us? Could they have already thoroughly studied us? Would they know Earth's orbital period, or even that we're watching this video? But they can't interact with us directly. They can only interact through gravity. What can gravity do? Gravity can change orbits. Gravity can cause tides. Gravity can't kill. That's the real terror. What if the mirror civilization has a warlike race? Or if they mistake us for a threat? Could they wage war against us? The answer is complex. You can't kill an enemy you can't see, can't touch, and who exists in the same space but has no effect on you with a gun. But you can use gravity. Imagine the mirror civilization in their space accelerating a giant mirror asteroid to extremely high speeds and then sending it crash into our solar system. No, it won't hit Earth directly because it will pass through it. But what about its gravity? When a mirror image of the Earth, larger than the Moon, passes through it at high speed, its gravity would violently disrupt Earth's orbit, trigger global tsunamis, warp the Earth's crust, and even fling Earth out of the solar system. This is an invisible war. The enemy is transparent. The weapon is gravity. The trajectory is invisible, and the victims don't even know who they're fighting. Another possibility is more gentle and more insidious. They might be using gravity for long-term climate manipulation. For example, by precisely adjusting the position of the mirror image, they could alter the gravitational lensing effect of the sun that we receive, thus slowly influencing Earth's temperature and ice age cycles. They might not be trying to harm us. They might just be doing research like we study anthills. When we drop a drop of sugar water into an anthill, we're not waging war, we're just observing. But for the ants, it's a catastrophe. So, the most terrifying thing isn't malice. The most terrifying thing is indifference. But let's think on the bright side. Perhaps the mirror civilization is peaceful. Perhaps they also want to communicate, not wage war. Then how should we respond? How do we send them a message? We can use the same method, create gravitational waves. But there's a problem. The gravitational waves we create are minuscule. Only the gravitational waves produced by the merger of two black holes can be detected by a detector thousands of light years away. The total energy of all human activity on Earth is not enough to create a gravitational wave signal that a mirror civilization could detect. Unless we do something extremely crazy, move a planet. If we make a giant planet, like Jupiter, orbit another massive celestial body at high speed, we could generate stronger gravitational waves. But this requires the technology to manipulate planets. We're still hundreds of years away from that. So, the current situation is, if they don't want to talk to us, they won't hear us even if we shout ourselves hoarse. If they want to contact us, they will actively knock on our door with gravitational waves. All we can do is wait. But there is a third possibility. Not war, not peace. It's a way we've never imagined. Perhaps mirror civilizations don't need to actively contact us. Perhaps we're already communicating. How? Through gravitational resonance. Imagine the delicate balance between the mass distributions in two universes. Mirror galaxies and our own pull on each other, creating the dark matter distribution we measure today. This distribution isn't random. It may carry information. In other words, the structure of our universe itself is a letter. Mirror civilizations, through long-term, slow adjustments to their mass distribution, have shaped our dark matter halo, influencing galaxy formation, star birth, and even the evolution of life on Earth. They weren't sending messages. They were writing poetry, a poem written with the entire universe. And we can't understand it now because we've only just realized there are words on paper. This concept is very abstract, so let me explain with an analogy. Imagine you're a drop of water. You flow into a river. You think the river is carrying you. But one day you suddenly realize that the shape of the riverbed was slowly carved out upstream over hundreds of millions of years. That's not nature. That's engineering. Our universe might be the same. The distribution curve of dark matter, the speed of galactic rotation, even the tiny anomalies in the orbits of planets in the solar system. These might not be coincidences. They might be remnants of a massive gravitational engineering project undertaken billions of years ago by a mirror civilization. Back then, there was no life on Earth. The solar system hadn't even formed. They didn't do it for us. They did it for themselves. But their action became the background conditions of our universe. We didn't receive a letter. We ourselves are part of a letter. Now, the most chilling speculation is, the mirror civilization might have already gone extinct. They may have vanished hundreds of millions of years ago for some internal reason. Without their active regulation, gravitational engineering began to decay, and the distribution of dark matter began to slowly change. The dark matter we detect may simply be the ruins of their civilization. And we are, in fact, conducting archaeological research. A dead mirror civilization continues to pull our galaxy along with its gravity. Their legacy is the reason we exist. Conversely, if our civilization were to one day become extinct, what would be the last thing we would? Not the pyramids, not spacecraft, not messages etched in gold. It would be gravity. It would be our tiny perturbation of the dark matter halo. Hundreds of millions of years later, a young civilization in another universe would detect this perturbation and wonder, why is there a little more mass here? They would never know that it was a long-vanished civilization waving goodbye. Now, let's return to our original question. How would mirror life communicate with us? War? Possibly, but the probability is low. Because war requires a purpose, and they have almost no need for our resources, the atoms and energy of our world are useless to them because they cannot touch them, unless they are driven by ideology or fear. Peace? Possibly, but peace requires language, and the language of gravitational waves is too slow and too crude. Sending a message could take years or even decades. A conversation could take thousands of years. What about the third way? Perhaps they are already communicating through methods we don't yet understand, through gravitational levels we haven't detected, through quantum gravity, or some kind of faint crack we haven't yet discovered that can penetrate two worlds. Perhaps every gravitational experiment they conduct generates a signal on our detectors, and we've been treating these signals as noise. Perhaps hidden within that noise is a hello. Finally, I want to leave you with a question. You can answer it in the comments. If one day we do receive a gravitational wave signal from a mirror universe, and after decoding it, there's only one word, what do you think that word would be? Is it hello? Is it danger? Is it help us? Or is it a silence we'll never understand? A silence that doesn't belong to any human language? Whatever that word is, one thing is certain. We are not the only voice in the universe. On the other side of the wall, someone is listening, and we've only just learned. Head to knock on the wall. This time, let's listen carefully.